We are recording. Hello, I am Jacob Galati, and we are the Group 3. No, this is the for the week 1, Group 5. We're grading their presentation. So I'm Jacob Galati.
I'm Kara Standard.
I'm Anna Bachman.
Alrighty, and I'll start us off. So, we'll just go in order in the paper. So for the introduction, I felt like the introduction was somewhat. I gave them a 2 for that because I felt like it wasn't really like an introduction. It was more like, oh, this is the very beginning, and they just kind of dived like straight in. They didn't really, based on the points of the introduction, they didn't really give a preview of it. They just kind of gave maybe like they broke it up in a little like beginning previews for each person that was presenting their own specific part, not like an overarching beginning overview.
Yeah, I agree. I also would say 2 because they really kind of just had like a title slide. They didn't like say what parts of the PowerPoint like would be included, like what they were actually going to talk about.
Yeah, I also agree. There wasn't like an overall like introduction of the whole thing. So yeah, I also give them 2.
I'll just kind of bounce it around so we can have each person start. So Kara, what did you put for the preparation?
For preparation, I said 4 because I think they all seemed pretty prepared. They seemed like they knew what they were talking about when they were describing everything. Like they had obviously done a lot of research because they had a lot of information on the slides, and they just sounded very just like they had researched it a lot.
I would say I mostly agree. I gave them a 3 for that, and that's only because like I noticed it was towards the beginning, it didn't really sound like they rehearsed because they were going through like an example number. It's just like, oh, that was supposed to be a 5 or something like that, and it just seemed like that is something that would be fixed if they had like a practice run or some kind of like maybe look through it a little better. But for actual content and how they discussed it, I feel like they were pretty well prepared.
Yeah, I think they were pretty well prepared. I liked how they didn't like read off the slide completely, so they had their own like thoughts on each one, which shows preparation. So I give them a 4.
Okay, and I'll start us on the next one. So for organization, I give them a 4 because I feel like the project was fairly well organized. They had it set up into segments of, because I'm pretty sure they had 2 sections, and they had I had each person present like a certain chunk of it. So I felt like it was fairly easy to follow because they gave they didn't throw like full paragraphs on the screen at a time. They throw like very digestible points and then like some evidence on the side or some kind of like extra like piece of media to help you like digest it, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. Also give them a 4.
Yeah, I agree.
And for the next part, I said, so this is one of the weak points for me. I said for creativity, I gave them a 2 because aside from like maybe like the side, like the pictures and overall, I mean, there wasn't very much creativity in it. They stuck to the prompt very well, but I don't think that they actually really tapped into like the creative amount of it. They just kind of stuck strictly to information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. I feel like I would give them maybe like a 4 because I feel like they had the information on there, and I feel like they displayed it in like an interesting way, kind of just with like the pictures and like the way the PowerPoint was set up.
Yeah, I give them a 4 also, just because they had like the theme with so it looked nice, and then there were pictures and just the way they explained and gave examples. So yeah.
And then I'll bounce it over to Anna. What did you give them for the meeting assignment objectives?
I give them a 5 because they obviously went through each thing very detailed and gave like clear steps and like had labeled sections and everything. So I gave them a 5.
Yeah, I also gave them a 5 there.
Same here. And for the next part, Kara, what did you give them for presentation style?
Presentation style, I gave them a 4 because I think they used like pretty good language, and they had a lot of like good vocab words in there. And I liked just how they set up the presentation with like how each person took a chunk and then they did it one after the other. Like I like that because it made it super clear and like easy to follow.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, definitely. Especially how you said that they made it into the chunks. I feel like that was really effective, and that's probably something that we're going to include into ours because having each person give a certain part. And I think it adds more depth when each person's actually speaking instead of just having one speaker go throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
And I'll go for delivery. For delivery, I give them a 4 because I mean they had eye contact whenever they were speaking. Maybe they'd like glance off for a little bit just to like read, to try to refer back to the slide that was on the screen at the time. But nobody's really whispering. I didn't see any like overly, I guess I'd say inappropriate like body language. And yeah, it seemed like they had the actual speaking parts rather well rehearsed.
Yeah, I gave them a 5 because I thought they did a really good job with that. Like it seemed super natural. It didn't seem like stiff or like rehearsed or anything.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all of that. You guys summed it up.
All right, Anna, what did you give them for the visual aids?
I gave him like a 4 just because it was like easy to see like as far as like the organization of it and the bullet points and like the numbering and the theme. Yeah.
Anna, I mean not Anna, Kara.
Yeah, no, I agree with Anna. I think it was like very just easy to look at, and the visual, it was just good.
Yeah, great way to sum it up. Okay, so for conclusion, I gave them a 3 because I was based off of like they had to do, they had to end it with a summary and they had finality out to they ended it with a summary of like they gave like a statement, but I didn't feel like it really tied together the whole thing. And as like one of the bullet points is, I don't think it had the finality to cap it off. It was a good like stopping point, but I don't think that it really took all the parts together and gave like a good, like I didn't feel like they had like the oomph that like the end of a presentation should.
Right. Yeah, I gave them a 2 because it says like ended with a summary, and like they didn't really like when I would think of like a summary for that, like listing like, oh, this is the first thing we talked about, and like an overall like maybe like a conclusion sentence. But they didn't really do that. It kind of just like ended with the last one.
Yeah, I gave him a 3 for like the same reasons. And like they probably could have like incorporated maybe like even a conclusion slide or something just to like lay it all out.
Right.
All right, and for overall team cohesiveness, I give them a 4 because I felt like they bounced off each other pretty well, especially when they're transitioning between subjects. I think that it's kind of hard to give that like a lack of points unless people were like arguing and bickering in the middle of it. But it seemed like they knew what they were doing. They met the time requirement, and like the other members seemed to be attentive while the others spoke. So I feel like they hit all the bullets point there.
Yeah, I agree. I gave them a 4 because they were like, you can tell they were listening, and because I know like I saw like what happened, like I think somebody else was like clicking the slides, so it was obvious they were like paying attention because they had to like switch the slides for the other person. And yeah, they met the time requirements, and I thought they seemed connected to each other.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
And for the overall rating of the project, I said I gave them a 3, just as the overall, because I felt like it wasn't really bad, but it wasn't something that was like super exceptional that made me think like, oh, like it was a decent presentation, but I wouldn't really stretch out to anything further than decent.
Yeah,
And
I would
maybe I'm
say
just being stingy.
I would say 4. I liked it. Like I liked the visuals, and I thought like the information was really solid. And I feel like I learned a lot from it, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I gave them like a 4 or 5. I thought they just did a good job of like speaking like clearly and kind of not reading right off the slides and just I feel like I learned a lot from it too. So it was good.
All right, great. So for the grade or aside points, yeah, I didn't really want to feel like doing the math, so I just said like I feel like that was a B. Like if I had were to grade that, I feel like that'd be a B grade.
Yeah, I'd say like low A, high B.
Yeah, same thing. Like low A, high B is good.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up. So, thank you for watching.
Thank you.